everybody, and thank you for coming. As Ms. Harrington said, April is Autism Awareness Month, and several years ago we put on a presentation similar to this. I know that quite a few faculty members are new, so you have not seen this, and I think as a department, we feel that it's very important to educate everybody on autism. Currently in our school, we have seen an increase in students having autism, some way on the autism spectrum, and currently we probably have about between 45 and 50 students throughout the school, and I really think probably a few who are still undiagnosed. I would like to present to you today just different perspectives. We have Taylor and Bailey Bender. They're currently 7th graders. They're twins, and they have some interesting things to share with you. They have participated at Stanford University in a twin study on autism. Taylor and Bailey currently have a foundation going, and Taylor's going to speak to that. We also have a parent, Ms. Jane Kaufman, whose son Brian is in Sherry Wilton's SBE class. We have Betsy Johnson, who's going to, she had spoken, Betsy Vincent, who had spoken several years ago, and she offers, I think, a different perspective this year as she continues to work with students. We have Stacy Hoagland, who is a parent advocate, Family Network on Disabilities, and she will talk about that. And finally, Gary Griegel, who is District Coordinator for Autism Spectrum Disorders, and he will kind of wrap things up. So I'm going to start by having Bailey, and I apologize, we also have Brandon Beltran Garcia, who is going to sing for us. So first I'm going to introduce Bailey, who is going to lead us in the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please continue standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Brandon and Bailey. I am now going to introduce Taylor Bender, who is going to speak for a few minutes on something very special that her and her sister set up.
Hello. I'm Taylor, and I'm here to speak to you about my charity that I started with my sister Bailey. It's called Autism's Awesome Helpers. I started the charity because we both have autism, and I want to educate people about autism, and also to set up things for people with autism to enrich their lives Say, for example, with the resource room, we got some stuff, some sensory stuff for the resource room for when kids with autism are frustrated, they can calm down and relax. And I also started a youth group for kids with autism, well, girls with autism, ages 8 to 14, because with high functioning autism, because a lot of times it's really hard for us kids with autism to make friends with the typical kids. And since I never saw anything that quite was the same, so I just started like a group that we just go different places, like we might meet at the park, the Dairy Queen, my house, and meet. We're also going to have a campfire April 27th to we'll roast s'mores and marshmallows. So I'm sure looking forward to that at Fire Water's campfire. Basically, just have a campfire. Okay. We also wish to educate kids about autism to increase tolerance at the school, so that because everybody's different. Autism is part of our world. So it's time that we need to. So it's time for everybody to open their eyes.
Thank you very, very much, Taylor. I'd like to now bring up Mrs. Jane Kaufman. Again, Jane has her son Brian in Sherry Wilton's SBE class. I'm going to follow that.
You girls are amazing, and your son is amazing, and just watching these children reminds me, my son, Brian, is 13 years old. Sorry, that really got me, even with all the Lexa Freud tape. Being a parent of a child with autism reminds you that it is a marathon, not a sprint. I'm so proud of my son. He just had his bar mitzvah this year. He did beautifully. He was proud. He knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't read from a script. He embraced it. He understood it. He knew what it meant to have a party and for things to be about him. If you would have told me when he was diagnosed, which was about 3 years old, that we would be standing here today celebrating this, I would have told you you were crazy. But what I think that the most important thing is to remember is to accept your child for who your child is. Remember that just because at 3 your child isn't potty trained, or your child can't speak, or your child isn't doing what every other kid does, doesn't mean that your child doesn't have value. My child is loving, delicious, sweet, affectionate, and fun. I have a good time with him. I'm going to be alone with him for this weekend. My husband and my other son are away, and I got to tell you, we're going to whoop it up. At 5, 6, 7 years old, there were a lot of behavioral challenges, a lot of pinching, a lot of struggles. It's not all roses. There were times of deep frustration, marital problems as a result of it, spleen, anxiety. I'm a full-time working parent. My husband is a full-time working parent. But I think if you trust your instincts, you don't have to search down every, idea that comes across the internet, every medicine, every wackadoodle idea that someone comes up with. If you really embrace your parenthood, trust your gut, trust your kids, learn how your kid functions, embrace it. My child has real challenges with auditory processing. So when you ask him a question, you can't say, hey Brian, what do you want to have for breakfast? And what are you going to wear this day? And what do you want to do about this? But if you say, hey Brian, what do you want to have for breakfast? Give him enough time to think about it and give the answer. You'll get the answer. But if you show him something in writing, he can read anything. He's so visual. So I say to you as a parent or as a faculty member, give these kids a chance to process and whatever. When I see these girls here today and this boy today, I say, they're beautiful. They're, as my friend says, our kids are morally pure. They embrace the world. They have so much value. And it takes time as a parent to learn that and to embrace it. And I think it even takes time as a faculty member or as a member of the community. But if someone would have told me when I became pregnant, you're going to have a special needs child, I would have run for the hills. I wasn't programmed that way, I wasn't wired that way, but I will tell you, and I say this, I have a blog, Sherry knows this, I try to pour my heart into it. Autism is probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life because it gives me appreciation for just what you can do every single day. It teaches you not to judge, it teaches you the value of somebody being able to express themselves in a sentence and just the joy of parenthood. So I appreciate you letting me talk today. It's just a blessing. So thank you very much.
Okay, Miss Vincent.
Can you hear me back there? Thank you. I'm going to talk to you today about a delicious lunchtime. During our hectic and stress-filled days, how many times have each of us wondered, how am I going to make it to 4 o'clock? What can I do to lessen the tension and pressure of the continuous requests that are placed on our shoulders and the ever-present feeling that you will never see the light at the end of the tunnel? Well, fortunately for me, I have found the solution to these problems. Does that surprise you? Since I am a math teacher, and I am solving problems all the time. So you may ask, what is my solution? My solutions are Josh, Philip, Charles, Brian, and the other students that are members of Sherry Wilton's class. That is my solution. Each day for about 10 minutes during my lunchtime, I sit with these special and unique young people. Through their eyes, I have learned how to let go of the situations that are troublesome and stressful. Through their eyes, I have learned how wonderful it is to be greeted with a smile and the statement, "How are you? I am so glad to see you." Thank you, Josh, for those daily greetings. Through their eyes, I have learned the thrill of singing any song that crosses my mind. Thank you, Charles, for lifting my spirits with our daily duets. Through their eyes, I have learned the joy of dancing. Thank you, Brian, for sharing your talent with me. The chicken dance will always hold a special place in my heart, thanks to Brian. Through their eyes, I have learned how important it is to laugh at the silliest things. Thank you, Philip, for laughing with me as we pronounce the word milk in our own distinctive way. As teachers, we frequently forget the delight in experiencing the accomplishments of our students when they have achieved a certain task, whether it be a major one or a minor one. Thanks to these special students, I have once again been reminded of that rewarding feeling. I have had the pleasure of witnessing their growth and have had the privilege of being a part of it. My dear friends from Miss Wilton's class, thank you for lifting up my spirits and easing the burdens of my daily routines. You are the extraordinary gifts that have been placed in my life. I am willing to share these gifts with all of you, my fellow teachers, so you too can experience the peace that they have given me.
Thank you, Betsy. I think I'm going to need some tissues here. And next, I would like to invite up Ms. Stacy Hogan.
Good morning. I actually wear several hats I am an advocate with Family Network on Disabilities. We're funded through Broward County government to assist families in the process of IEPs and understanding their children's rights. I'm also a parent of an 18-year-old who's graduating this year. I've known the Bedler girls, and they probably don't even remember this, they're about 3. I have seen them make astronomical progress. You all should be so proud. And actually, the first year that there was an autism resolution in Broward County that gets presented before the school board, the student who read it came from this school. And he also was a student who, when he was through elementary school, was in an autism cluster program. And then he came here, he received great support and was supported within his regular education classrooms, and he's gone on and is about to get his regular high school diploma. So your school definitely does a beautiful job in wrapping their arms around these children and supporting them. Also, I'm the editor of the Autism Notebook magazine, which are over there, and you all are in it for just this kind of program. Louise submitted a beautiful article about doing this awareness piece for the staff, and both myself and the autism community highly appreciate you taking your very busy time schedules to be able to come and listen. And if you might have noticed, the 3 young people that came up here to present to you with autism had no reservations about doing so. And that's one of the beautiful things about so many of these children, that when you put them in a situation of being able to show their abilities in a way other than picking up a pencil and a piece of paper, sometimes you really get some beautiful output from them, because oftentimes that the pencil paper tasks is one of their most challenging, if not the most challenging. So any opportunity you get to have them show what they know in ways like this, like coming up and doing a presentation in your classroom, will not only be good for them socially, emotionally, but also enable them to be able to show you what you're teaching them. Because so often times, teachers might feel like, oh, they're just not getting it because they're not able to bring it out on paper and pencil. But that doesn't mean that they're not really grasping what you're teaching them. So I thank you all for your attention. Again, I did bring a bunch of magazines, and I also brought information for Family Network on Disabilities. And again, what we try to do is we just try to educate parents, not on as much advocating so that we can drive you all crazy, but we know that, and you all should know that your best ally can be a parent, because sometimes you're faced with the bureaucracy of a very large school system. But a parent who's educated, who knows how to work with you all, can make great things happen, not only for that student, but for assisting you in being better teachers of your classroom, for receiving the support that you need. So I thank you for your attention and your support of us.
Thank you, Stacey. And I'm available to autograph the magazine if you'd like to have a personal autograph copy. Lastly, I'd like to introduce Gary Griegel, who will kind of wrap things up for us from a district perspective.
Thank you, Louise. It's hard to follow those other speakers because I'm the district person. But I'm not going to talk to you too much about district. What I want to say is we have over 2,400 students with autism spectrum disorder in Broward County schools. So when you say 51, you're about in the range for having students in middle school. What I do want to tell you is, with all the students that I've dealt with over all the years, all the families, all the teachers, it really comes down to 3, what I call the 3 C's. And none of them have to do with Common Core, teachers. Number 1 is communication. If you, as a teacher, communicate with your colleagues, your families, your district staff, your community, that makes the lives for all of our kids much more successful. That's number 1. Number 2 is making connections, and I think you saw some of that today. When you can make a connection with a child with autism, that connection can be lifelong and life-changing for a child with autism. Many of our students will come to middle school and never have that real connection, and I just had a conversation with a teacher about 3 weeks ago who was actually frustrated. And what I told her was, we have kids that go along, first grade, second grade, never, you've got to keep plugging at it, because you might be that one teacher, that one paraprofessional, that one administrator that makes a connection with a child with autism. When you make that connection's lifelong and life-changing for that child with autism. I still have one student that I taught, and I will go back to my beginning of my career. I was, at the time, 22 years old. That student was 21 years old. We have had a conversation just about every month since the child graduated. No longer lives in the state. He calls me on a monthly basis. I only allow him to call me once a month, by the way, those of you who know autism. His name is Brett. We talk. I feel like we're friends. I don't see him as a child, as an adult with autism. I still see him as my student, my peer almost. And it's funny when I ask him his age is, he's 1 year younger than me. So it's a real interesting connection that I've made, and I feel privileged to have that relationship with him. And the third C is common sense. For teachers, I know we get bogged down with standards, with programs, with IEPs, with data. Common sense. Sometimes just sit back, think about all the district things, and I know, don't let my bosses know I'm saying this. Sometimes throw those out and figure out how to best get through to a child with autism. Teach differently. Think differently. Our kids are just amazing. And I think Stacy said it before. There are ways, paper and pencil isn't always the way. Throw that out. Try a different way to teach. And I think you're going to find a lot more success, and you're going to learn things from our kids with ASD that are going to help you with your other students. Again, I want to thank Lions Creek. They're one of my best middle schools, and I don't say that to all my middle schools. The staff here, Dr. Toomer, Debbie Harrington, and Louise are wonderful. We always enjoy coming out here and showing people what you're doing. So have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of things. Of course, again, the notebook is there in the magazine. If you are interested in purchasing these great shirts, you can email Holly and she will give you the information on that. It may not come by this April, but certainly we can wear them every week with pride. I thank you daily from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do to work with our students. You know how I feel. I mean, I love every single one of them as if they're my own, and I just appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to my presenters. Again, you guys are wonderful, and have a great weekend, everybody.